programs for the Open University will begin shortly. This is the Open University. We begin with a program for students taking the second level course in genetics, and it's concerned with the origin of the science of genetics.
Programs for the Open University will begin shortly at 10 to 5. This is the Open University. Our broadcast this evening begins with a program for the second level and associate student course on genetics. It shows how it's been possible, using techniques of genetic analysis, to locate the genes on a bacterial chromosome to produce a gene map. It also turns out that this map is circular, and that this circularity coincides with the physical circularity of the chromosome itself. The program ends with a demonstration of the techniques associated with one of the students' home experiments on a fungus.
This is the Open University. We begin with a program for the second level and associate student genetics course. It shows how human sickle cell disease can be traced to a minute chemical change or mutation in the structure of the hereditary material DNA. The program also illustrates mutants of the fruit fly Drosophila and their value to genetical research.
This is the Open University broadcasting on BBC Two transmitters. Programs begin in 2 minutes. This is the Open University.
We end this evening's programmes for Open University students with one for the third level course on the nature of chemistry. In 1890, a young German chemist, Hermann Sachse, proposed that cyclohexane existed in forms in which the ring was puckered, the boat and chair forms. This programme examines why it took over 50 years before those ideas, with their implications of the importance of three-dimensional structure and the dynamic nature of these structures, were accepted by chemists in general.
The great symbol of organic chemistry is the tetrahedron.
The tailings are mainly waste limestone and bits of ores that couldn't be separated out. They still contain about 1 or 2% of metal sulfides. They're pumped into this.
Our next programme is for the Open University's course in genetics. Many biologists are nowadays turning away from a study of the fundamental problems of heredity to tackle other outstanding biological problems which exist at higher levels of complexity. This programme illustrates some of the latest attempts being made to solve such problems as development and behaviour. Our next programme today is for the course Cognitive Development, Language and Thinking from Birth to Adolescence. It looks at the thinking behind the design of toys for young children.
That programme for the second level and associate student course on genetics will be shown again on Saturday morning at 11:25 here on BBC Two. Meanwhile, Friday's radio programme for this course will be about genes, chromosomes and crossovers, and you can hear it on Friday morning at 6 o'clock on Radio 3 VHF. Now, before our next programme, a reminder that this weekend sees the start of our series of open lectures. In the first of these, Professor Brian Grumbridge reviews the progress of adult education and its future prospects. And that's on Sunday morning at 11:25 here on BBC Two. We continue this broadcast for the Open University with a programme for the third level course on the nature of chemistry. In today's programme, Dr. Roger Hill and Dr. Richard Taylor review the types of stereoisomerism commonly encountered in the study of chemical compounds.
Well, that programme for the genetics course will be shown again on Saturday morning at 11:25 here on BBC Two. Meanwhile, Friday's radio programme for this course will be about genetic disease in man. You can hear that at 6 o'clock on Friday morning on Radio 3 VHF. Well, now we've got some information for viewers who are not registered students of the Open University. If you're willing to study at home in your spare time, the university provides a unique opportunity to continue your education and achieve a BA degree. If you live in the United Kingdom, you can apply for registration for foundation courses starting in 1981 by writing to this address: the Admissions Office, the Open University, Post Office Box 48, Milton Keynes, MK7 6AB. As we have a moment or two in hand, I'll leave that on the screen for just a little longer if you'd like to write it down. Could you write on a postcard, please, and you'll be sent a guide for applicants, quite free of charge, together with an application form. Now, this book is designed to explain what the university has to offer and how it works, and you're advised to read it thoroughly before you fill in the application form. The closing date to apply for a place in 1981 is the 31st of May, so you should write as soon as possible. And here's that address, just once again: the Admissions Office, the Open University, Post Office Box 48, Milton Keynes, MK7 6AB. The next programme for the Open University, a programme for the third level course on the nature of chemistry, follows in just under 2 minutes. We end this broadcast for the Open University with a programme for the third level course on the nature of chemistry. In today's programme, an analysis of the relative stabilities of the conformations of cyclohexane and substituted cyclohexanes is developed to show how conformational analysis may be used to predict the chemistry of complex structures containing these rings. To conclude the programme, Professor Sir Derek Barton describes the conformational analysis of steroid compounds, work for which he was awarded the 1969 Nobel Prize for Chemistry.
At 6:55, frame of the day.
Well, as David Vine just said, we will be returning at 6:55, except for viewers in Scotland who join the programme at 7:05. This is followed by the mid-evening news, and then in Chronicle at 7:40, John Julius Norwich relates the extraordinary history of the first black republic in the world, Haiti, founded by a former slave known as Black Napoleon. The passionate love story of Pandora and the Flying Dutchman is midweek cinema at 8:30, starring James Mason and Ava Gardner. There's more snooker at 10:30, as you heard, followed by Newsnight at 10:45, and then the last visit of the day to Sheffield is at 11:30. Programmes this evening here on BBC Two. Welcome viewers to the Open University. And we begin with the programme for the genetics course, and it's about attempts made in the 20th century to answer the question, what is a gene?
Is such an exciting time for molecular biologists. Well, their programme was for the genetics course, and you can hear an associated radio programme on Friday morning at 6 o'clock on Radio 3 VHF. Well, now we have a programme for the third level course on the nature of chemistry, in which Professor Haynes continues his investigation into the research techniques available for studying the stereochemistry of a chemical reaction.
In this programme, we're going to look at the bromination of 3-methyl-cyclohexanone.
Well, next week's programme for the Arts Foundation course will use the large-scale landscape painting of the Leaping Horse as an example of the way Constable developed his showpiece paintings from a variety of small sketches. There we close this broadcast for the Open University, and it also ends our transmissions on BBC Two. Good night.
This is the Open University broadcasting on BBC Two transmitters. Programmes begin in 2 minutes. This is the Open University.
That was the first programme in the immunology block of the course Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. The second programme, in 2 weeks' time, will deal with the molecular structure of antibodies. And there we end today's transmission for the Open University.
The search for the basic cellular mechanisms that underlie the 24-hour biological clock will be described in the final programme for the course on physiology of cells and organisms in 2 weeks' time. That's at 1:05 on Sunday, the 4th of October. One of the associate student courses we shall be repeating this winter is called Energy in the Home. It's concerned with explaining how fuels are used in homes and with helping you to find cheap and effective ways of reducing consumption without feeling less comfortable. This 8-week course will be presented in October and again in January, and anyone interested should write to the Associate Student Central Office, EP 101, the Open University, P.O. Box 76, Milton Keynes, MK7 6AN. Our final Open University programme is for students following the course on biochemistry and molecular biology. Dr. Martin Raff of University College London looks at the unique features of the genetics of antibody production and examines how the immune system as a whole is orchestrated.